start. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you this fabulous Monday, August 2nd? No, it's August 1st. I can't believe it's the beginning of August already. Can you imagine? Christmas is around the corner. Anyway, welcome to the Speaker MC show. My name is Marcia Chambers, and I am your host for tonight. Tonight, we have two guests, and our show topic is entitled Man to Man. On the Speaker MC show, we delve into relationships on all levels. How you relate to yourself, how you relate to others, how you relate to your money, how you relate to food, how you relate to your environment, just relationships across the board. And as I said, part of our mission is to expose different aspects and to tap into some of the problems that people have in these relationships during their daily existence. And we offer, our guests and I, offer some tips and solutions and information on how to make it a better relationship. So we encourage you to voice your questions and communications right there in the chat section, which is on that side. And at the end of the show, our guests will be offering a gift or reward for staying all the way till the end. It's only 60 minutes, but it's very interactive, and we encourage you to pose your questions. Okay? So as I said, tonight's guests are Mr. Jim Leroy. Jim Leroy is CEO of Freedom Artist Management. And Jim is a musician, producer, and an artist manager, and he produces timeless music. That's what he strives for. He loves playing golf and chess, and his hobby is hanging out with his girlfriend. Can you say welcome to Jim Leroy? Hey, Jim.
Yay. Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up?
And our other guest he's no guest to this show. I mean, he's no stranger to this show. Also, Jim has been on the show before. But Tony Wilkins in San Francisco has been on the show before. And Tony is an author, event planner, and he's just the one to know. Whenever you meet Tony, Tony asks you two questions. What can I do for you? And well, is that it, Tony? How can I help you?
No.
How can I help you?
You're close.
I'm close.
But that's okay.
Anyway,
Go ahead.
Tony is an author, and he has a current book tour coming up. It's called The Career Whisperer. And that book tour will be starting in November 2016. He's an author. He's written several other books, and he is CEO of the Small Business Forum. Can you please help us welcome Mr. Tony Wilkins, CEO, Small Business Forum, radio personality, no stranger to this show. Hi, Tony.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna, if I may, correct you on a couple of things.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please correct me.
Number one,
yes.
The two questions are, whenever I meet someone new, I always ask two questions. What do you need?
What do you
and
need?
how can I help?
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Because I ask it specifically that way because it's really about getting to the root of what the other person needs as opposed to trying to sell them something, because you can't sell them anything until you know what they need. So,
absolutely.
And most people can't answer those two questions. Okay, that's number one. Number two,
yes.
I'm a radio personality. My show is Small Business Forum Radio, and I have a magazine. I have 3 magazines, and of course there's the books and that sort of thing. So I just wanted to correct you on that. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you for correcting me on your bio.
On my bio, thank you. Was I there?
Well,
never mind. This is what we do.
This is what we do. Exactly.
This is what we do.
Tonight's show, as I said, is called Man to Man. The last show that we had was Woman to Woman, and that was so well attended and so verbose and so energetic. I hope that this show tonight will be the same, because men are noted for their strong sides. I hope that won't be this. I'm sorry. What is that? from the silent type.
Oh, I'm gonna need several cocktails, I swear. Oh my God. Oh,
Now,
I'm sorry.
let me ask you guys something. And we have a friend to our group, Tony and I. Her name is Kimmy Avery, and Kimmy specializes in male-female dynamic, and she always says that they speak different languages. And someone says they can't hear Tony. Oh, hi, Valerie. Hi, Valerie.
Can you hear me now? Because I wasn't saying anything. So can you hear me?
Maybe
hi, Valerie.
Maybe she can.
Can you hear me now, Valerie?
Hopefully she'll respond in the chat box.
Hopefully.
But as I was saying, men are noted for, well, what I have admired about men is how easily they can connect to each other in a strange environment. What brought this topic, this show topic on? I went to a barbecue. I was invited to a barbecue, and a friend of mine came along. And this gentleman, he just stood there. I mean, there were so many people there, male, women, nobody that he knew, because it was my friend's barbecue to which I was invited. But I guess I was judging it based off of my personality, that I'll go somewhere strange and I'll just make a friend, catch them in some kind of casual conversation and make a connection. I thought the same that he would do. And he just sat off into a corner, and at some point in time I said, well, where is, his name was Mark. Where is Mark? I don't know where he is. He was sitting down, eating a plate of food, and just sitting by himself. So I said to him, well, what happened? Why aren't you interacting with that? He said, I don't know anybody here. I said, okay. But he just would not interact with other people. Have you ever come across a situation like that where a guy just doesn't know how to interact with other men, or I guess not other women, but other men?
Jim, I'm gonna let you go first, and then I'll jump in.
Now, I was just gonna say, I think some people are introverts, and that guy, he's an introvert. And sometimes I catch myself at parties, and I might not know anyone, and then I'll be in a corner. I'll be like, "Come on, Jim, you gotta at least jump in a conversation with somebody. Don't just sit here and look like a." I would say I look like a moron, just sitting here, not doing anything. But I'll jump into somebody's conversation, little small conversation here and there. Oh, where you're from, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Do you want me to answer?
Yes, please,
okay.
Please.
Let me tell, and you know this about me, Marcia. I tend to, I'm that guy to a certain degree, and I don't even go to networking events anymore because I do something called influential networking, which I teach, which takes the worry of going to networking events and collecting, business cards with people who you're not going to be able to do anything with. Okay.
Right.
Having said that, typically when I go to a place where I don't really know anyone, first thing I do is I look for the bar. That's it. I'm looking for the vodka. Because I'm not a real sociable person. The only time I go to a networking event or a party is if I just want to get out of the apartment and put on some pants. That's it. Other than that, I'm kind of a homebody, and so I look for the vodka. I look around to see if there's anyone who I may want to talk to, or who looks familiar, or if I'm feeling really gregarious that particular day, i.e., I've had a couple of drinks in me, then I'll walk up to somebody and then I'll say, can you tell me about the crowd? This is my first time here. I don't really know anybody. And then I sort of wait and see if anybody's going to introduce me to somebody. And if not, I'll stay an hour and then I'm back home, or I'll go somewhere else, So that's me. It's not uncommon.
Well, the only reason why I say that, because I did a comparison. So I went to another function with another friend of mine, he didn't know anybody there. And oh, Jim has poor internet signal. He didn't know anyone there. And he was in one conversation, in another conversation, as if he knew these people for years. And I felt like, well, this is great. You know, I don't really have to say, well, okay, this is my friend so-and-so, and this is so. I didn't really have to introduce, even though that is part of my duty when bringing a stranger to another function. But still, it really inspired me how he just went out and, hey man, you saw that game last night, da, 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 and he just started on like that. So
but here's the thing. I mean, the thing about networking, whether it's in a social setting or a business setting, you actually have to feel like doing it. You have to be in, you know, you have to put yourself in a certain frame of mind in order to do it. And ironically, you know, I used to teach networking workshops, you know, all the time, how to network properly, and until I didn't need to do it and I stopped teaching those workshops. But you know, what I always tell people is networking is really, really difficult, whether it's social in a social setting or a business setting. You have to really feel like doing it. And if you don't, you know, Jim is right. You should kind of stay at home. You know, make the effort. But if you're really not feeling it, we lost Jim. If you're really not feeling it, if you're really not feeling. Okay. If you're really not feeling it, then you know you may want to go home and come back another day or whatever, because nobody wants to sit there and you know and talk to somebody who's not really in the mood to talk. You know.
Well, okay. So maybe this is what I'm trying to understand. Now, back to what Kimmy says, how guys have a certain language. Now, women tend to be nurturers. And women tend to just chatter. Whereas the man, I'm saying it, right? Whereas the guy will be, you know, very silent and very strong in his silence, which is fine. But guys usually have some kind of connecting string with them because guys are interested in sports or interested in cars. So there's some kind of commonality there. A woman can just say, hey, I like your shoes, or I like your dress, and that sparks the conversation.
Well, you're talking more masculine, feminine persona, if you will, because most men, and you know this, I'm an openly gay man, I'm a black man, openly gay, in his 50s. Most straight men, unless they know who I am ahead of time, like they, you know, I'm known for my radio show. That's what most people know me for. You know, they really don't have anything to say to me. And those that come up to me, hey, you see the Bulls last night? I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. I don't watch sports. I don't, you know, women, I have more of a rapport with them. I can talk to them about anything. They're more comfortable with me. I'm more comfortable with them. You know, when I get around straight men, and we're going into a whole different, you know, realm.
A whole different, yes.
Right. But when we're talking about, you know, straight men and gay men, when I'm around my straight male friends, you know, I get butch. I'm like, and you see what she looked like, and blah blah blah, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know why it just comes over me. It's a different language, you know. And I'm like, I don't know where any of that comes from. I have buddies, by the way, who will not take me to a baseball game. I've been to one baseball game in my entire life. Cussed like a sailor, and my friends were like, well, those people have kids like that. Fuck them, you know. That was sort of my, you know. Nobody told me to put the kids there. They're not my kids, fuck them. And I don't know where that came from because that's not me normally. But because I was in my straight mindset, because I was with my straight male friends. something came over me. So it's a different language. It's how you communicate with both men and women, and and I don't want to say from a sexuality standpoint, but I think that's a part of it as well.
I
What do you say to that,
wanted to
Jim?
throw something in. I think me and Tony, we have similar personalities when it comes to going to events. Yeah.
Of course, because you're both men, right?
When I go to an event, I definitely look for where the bar is. You know, I need something to loosen up. But I realized, and I commend you on the show, Marcia, because I can see where I'm like that introvert type of dude where I don't do a lot of events or go to a lot of network events. And if I do go to them, sometimes I'm in the corner. But then I'll catch myself and be like, yo, Jim, what are you doing? You know, the goal is to connect with people and make your contacts and get to where you need to go. Like, you can't just sit there.
Get uncomfortable.
And I'm gonna piggyback off of what Jim said. And Marcia, you saw me in action at the Public Speakers Association conference.
Yes.
And you didn't see a lot of me. You and I spent some time together, but you didn't really see a lot of me.
No.
And afterwards, you were like, well, Tony, where were you? I'm like, I can't take one more fucking picture. I don't want to pose with anybody. Yeah, I'm going to use the F word now. Yes, I don't want to pose with anybody. I don't want to shake anybody's hands. I don't want to sign any more autographs. Because you know why? And I think a lot of men are like, you get to a point where when you have too much communication, too many people coming at you, and it can be a little overwhelming, particularly if your mindset isn't there. Okay, it can be a little overwhelming, and I wound up going back to my room. I went to the bar,
yes, you did.
And then I wound up going back to my room because I just sort of been tapped out. And the thing about it is, most men, I think, are kind of like that. Women love to talk and they love to communicate. Men say a lot with very few words. We don't need to use all of our words. And we don't want to, and it's funny, you brought Kimmy and I were having this conversation about that.
Oh no, I was going to say something to him with men don't use all of their words. Like, are they saving it for a rainy day or something?
I was just going to throw like what he was trying to say is men are very few, like they don't have a lot of words when they are talking, you know, and ladies are more, you know, they can keep the conversation going. Men are like, say this, say that, and that's it. But to keep a conversation going, like a person that's having a problem with networking, they got to learn how to ask open-ended questions. Like when I used to work at Payless, and they did a training, and it was like whenever you're dealing with a customer, you have to learn how to do open-ended and close-ended questions so you can move on to the next customer. So when I learned that, I was like, yeah, that can help me out with networking. So Tony did hit it.
I'm here. So can you all hear me now? Hear me and see me? Okay.
Yes.
So what I was saying is, and thank you, because what I was saying is men, and Kimmy and I were talking about this the other day, men are kind of like, we don't want to use all of our words. Chris Rock had one of the best lines to describe how men are, and I'm gonna swear in a minute, okay, so just be prepared. Chris Rock said, and I agree with him, when men come home, feed me, fuck me, shut the fuck up. That's where we are. That's how we are. We tend to be really, we say a lot without saying a lot, okay? We don't need to use all of our words, okay? And Kimmy and I were talking the other day, and I said, here's the thing about men.
That's Kimmy Avery.
Who I love. Kimmy happens to be a client. Kimmy and I were talking about men and women, and I said, here's the deal. Men hate being fixed. Don't fix us. We know a lot of what our issues are. You know, we don't need a woman to come into our lives and try and fix us. We kind of hate that. Okay. If a woman knows what she's doing, she can manipulate a man to get him to sort of tweak here and tweak there. But, you know, most men, we hate being fixed. I don't know if Jim will agree with that, but that's kind of the way that I am. And I've talked to a lot of my male friends. That's how they are. They hate it when their wives or girlfriends or whatever are trying to fix them. Jim, I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Definitely agree. I definitely agree. I personally don't like being fixed.
Yep.
You know, and what you said about Chris Rock.
Well, hold on one second.
Here we go.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
We're going to get the other end of
Now, I know that women are nurturers, and I know that men are the fixers. But what do you guys call getting fixed? What does that mean?
Okay.
Sound like you're being neutered or something.
Okay. Getting, for me, and this is just my description, women have a tendency, and you and I have had this conversation, where someone will come up to me, and it's usually a woman, and they will say, Tony, you gave a really great talk. Can I tell you how you can make it better? And I'm like, I didn't ask you, you know. Or, you know, you did a really terrific workshop, or you did the radio program really great, or you did this. I would like to talk to you about how you can make it better, or how you can make more money, or how you can. And I'm like, I didn't ask. And you know that one of my rules, one of my main rules, and I always correct people on this, is I don't give, and I don't give or or receive unsolicited advice, because that's the reason why I tend to ask people, do you want me to listen, or do you want to know what I think? Because not everybody cares about your opinion. And Kimmy and I were having the conversation, as I said, a while back, where I said, you know, I've noticed that women have a tendency of doing that. And maybe it's because most of my clients happen to be women. I don't know. But I notice that women have a tendency of, you know, make it better, fix it. So that's what I mean by, you know, fixing a man. You know.
Oh.
That's what I mean. Not being neutered. You know. Not being castrated. That's a whole different
Okay. That's a whole different topic. That's a whole nother show. So what advice, well, let me ask you, you guys said that guys are usually pretty silent and a few words, but just for socialization, and let's get out of the party atmosphere. So you're in a situation where you have a friend, right? And your friend is experiencing some kind of difficulty, trauma, whatever. Everybody doesn't like to put their laundry out for airing. So a lot of people will keep it close to the chest. Understand it. But these two are two close male friends, straight guys, but close friends. Why is it that one guy is going through hardship? I mean, serious hardship. Wife leaving him, and house upside down, and, you know, just losing his job, all kinds of financial and emotional stress, but refuse to even have a heart-to-heart talk with another man. Why is that?
Jim? Because I'm not a straight man, so I can't answer. But
well, we'll go to your perspective after.
I have to say, me personally, I think it depends on the individual. Because me, if it's a true friend, he would know I'm going through something. He would know like, okay, something's wrong. Or I would come out and tell him like, yo, this is the situation. And I trust him because I know that I'll get good advice on how to fix the issue. And the same, like me personally, people come to me, which, you know, this sometimes it gets a little bit annoying, but sometimes people come to me for some answers because I'm more on the spiritual side. Like I'll give them guidance on how to handle the situation or how to overcome the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So me personally, I think it depends on the individual, because I don't think every guy out there is not willing to speak to a good friend.
Okay.
Well, let me just circle that, what you said, that if it's a good friend, that he should know that you're going through some kind of difficulty. Yeah, the good friend knew this person was going through some difficulty, and the good friend made a date with the person, you know, hey, let's go out for a drink or something, just because. And they went, and he basically was like, it was pulling teeth trying to get him to talk about it. I mean, I understand, you know, you want to keep things close, but this is supposed to be your ride or die buddy.
Well,
this is a person that reached out to you to say, hey, what's going on? And
I'm gonna, if I may, because as I said, I'm not a straight man, so I can't really speak to that. But I have a lot of straight.
Well, speak from your.
Okay.
Well, speak from.
I have a lot of straight male friends that will call me up, and oddly enough, they ask me for marital advice. You know, my girlfriend, my fiance, my wife. You know, what's going on, and they're calling me up. They're straight men. And they're calling me up for advice on how to handle their wives and girlfriends and fiancés. And I'm going, really? You know? And yet, because I study human nature, you know, I think I've got a really decent understanding on how men and women interact and that sort of thing. I'm usually able to help them, or to at least guide them a little bit. But just piggybacking off of what Jim said, it's a good friend, but there also has to be trust. I have to be able to trust you in order to share with you, and I have to know that I'm in a safe place, that if I tell you something, if I'm exposing myself to you in a good way, that you're not going to come back and bite me in the ass. You know, you're not going to use that against me. Okay. So yes, there has to be, you know, you have to go to somebody that's a good friend, but it also has to be somebody where you mutually trust each other. You know, I'm going to trust you to listen and maybe to guide me, or sometimes I just want to sound bored. I just, you know, I'm going through it, and, you know, I just want a sounding, you know. Now, the problem with that, unfortunately, is a lot of men don't necessarily want to hear it. They don't want to hear that their ride or die is going through it. They don't want to deal with another man's problems, you know, because then we're looking at them going, really? You know, and it's sort of we can be, and I'm going to try and say this as eloquently as I can, but if we're good friends, and we're kind of on this level, okay? When I start seeing you slip and going through it, and then you're coming to me with your problems, suddenly it's going down here. Now I'm looking at you with a side eye, because as a man, you should be able to solve your own problems. You shouldn't have to go to, and that's the male sensibility, okay? We don't talk it out. We expect, you know, other men to solve their own problems, to handle their stuff, you know? So unfortunately, that's the way that the male society is. That's the way that men are. We expect you to handle your stuff, and don't bring me a whole lot of trauma and garbage, because now we're starting to look at you and, okay, I'm going to say something that's going to be unpopular. We're starting to look at you as a woman, you know, because now you're bringing to me a lot of trauma, okay? That's the way, that's the male perspective, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
He has a point there.
Jim, am I right? Am I right?
Yeah, you definitely, you're 100%. But I just wanted to add something. Majority of the time, I think it falls down to the topic like what the topic is. Like me, if it's my friend that, you know, having issues with a job, I'm gonna look at him like, yo, you're gonna have to make it happen. Like there's no, I'm not gonna hold your hand, and I'm not doing that.
Okay, so and let me piggyback off that, because that's really good. It depends on the situation. Okay, and let's clarify this. So if a man comes to me and he says, and like Jim says, oh, you know, I've got a job situation, and Jim, as Jim said, you know, you got to make it happen. That's one thing. Okay, I'm going to encourage them, and that's what they. But if a man comes and says, well, you know, it's a job thing, and can I borrow $100? Now we're looking at you like, really? Okay. So now remember when we were up here, and now suddenly it's sort of like, okay, now I got to help you solve the problem. Okay. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So it's a whole different thing.
So
now here's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, okay.
Go ahead.
Now let's say same two people, same two men. If it's a wife thing, or if it's a girlfriend or fiance, and the guy, one guy might say, oh, you know, I'm having problems. My wife is giving me all this, you know, she's nagging me, she's doing this and or, you know, she's not giving me enough. You know, that's a conversation where we're going to be right here, okay? And we're probably going to stay up here, okay? Because now we can kind of relate. Okay, yours too. Okay, mine is through that, and we're going through it together. And let's go out and have a beer. And now we're in sync. We got it. You know, we're compadres in the name of we hate our girlfriends and wives for the moment. Okay. And
you're on the same team.
Right, same team. Okay, great. Now we can commiserate, and it's great, and blah, 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 and don't you hate her? And yes, I do. And, you know, maybe, you know, you need to bring another man into the bedroom. I don't know. So, anyway. I was being a little
bottom
facetious.
Line, no, I understand. and we appreciate that. So bottom line, basically you guys feel that the trust factor is number one, but even circumventing or even surpassing the trust factor is the ego. Because if you feel that, hey, your problems or your drama is a little bit too much, then now you start to sound like a girl. So it kind of emasculates that other friend, so to speak. So the friendship just goes right out the window, throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing. and the trust just goes out the window too. So it's if you have that common sync with the girlfriend issue, but don't bring money, don't bring job, because you should handle that. That's basically what Jim said. And you should have that under control.
I don't know if emasculation is the right word. It's more of a mutual respect.
Is that too harsh a word?
I'm not sure if emasculation is the right word. I think it's a respect thing. It's like, it's as Jim said, you know, the job thing is one thing. The money thing is one thing. The wife thing is one thing. It depends on the circumstance. It depends on what do you bring into my doorstep? Like, and can I deal with it? Okay. Can I deal with whatever trauma that you're bringing? Is it a thing? Okay. Well, again, we're up here, or is it a money thing where, like, you know, we're this way? You know, it depends on the circumstance.
You know what I've always admired with guys? How they can so easily compartmentalize.
We can.
Everything just, this is in this bucket, this is in this bucket, but us women, we just push everything together.
That's why.
Now, a girl or another female friend would come and say, well, hey, you know, Marcia, A, B, C, D. And it's like, girl, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't look at her as if, oh, the respect is not here anymore,
Mm-hmm.
it would be like, okay, sisterhood, the sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
It's all encompassing, the sisterhood, but not you guys. You guys just relate totally like, yo, man.
Well, I mean, we have
handle your business.
we have the brotherhood as well. I mean, but there are unspoken rules. There are unspoken rules, with the brotherhood that you kind of abide by. There are certain things that you bring to another man, and certain things that you don't, that you kind of keep to yourself. And
I agree with you.
I don't
There's
know.
certain things that. The thing is,
you're so
because I'm
agreeable,
sitting here
Jim.
thinking about, when I have my situations, it's like, yo, everybody has situations. There's no time to be talking about your situations. Handle that. But if it's something that requires like some guidance or some help, and you trust this person, because that T word is very important. If you don't trust somebody, you're not speaking to them. You're not talking to them at all. Like, you'll say, yeah, let's go out for drinks. Yeah, we can talk about it.
Right.
But you'll be extremely, exactly.
On guard.
Yeah. And by the way, gay men and straight men, not that different in terms of how we handle certain situations. I mean, when we're gay men don't want to hear about your relationship drama. It's like, oh, please,
Wow.
Gay men will, if you're having problems on the job, we may listen to you if you're a really good friend, but we don't want to hear it in the bar because we ain't there for that. Okay. We don't want to hear that. Okay. You may, sex. Okay, if you want to talk about sex, great, we can talk about sex, So we're gay men and straight men, not that different, not really.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good to know. Man is still a man is still a man, right?
There are differences. Don't get me wrong, but there are certain things
in that department.
Right. There are certain things that were exactly the same.
Okay. All right. Well, I like that. So now, what would you guys recommend to guys who are introverts or guys who have a hard time trusting another male friend, another male companion? What would you say, or how could you? Because the reason I asked this, someone mentioned to me that sometimes men might have issues, like daddy issues. We hear women all the time say, yeah, we have daddy issues or mommy issues. And it manifests in your later stage of life with your interactions with other people. So if a man has daddy issues, so daddy was this strong male type that would, I don't know, handle everything and expect the same from his son, and his son just seems to be a little, more needy or a little less machismo, so to speak. And it affected him at school, affected him growing up in the household. And then he grows up to be this real introverted type of person. How would you recommend, or what tips can you recommend to someone like that to kind of get out of their shell? Besides saying, join a Toastmasters or something and get over it.
May I jump in?
Yes, okay. Yes.
Let me, because you said something and I was like, nope, here's the deal. Because men always think that it's daddy who's handling it, and it's really mommy. It just looks like daddy is handling everything, okay? But mommy is really the one who's sort of making everything go and everything happen. And daddy is sort of, and I hate to reduce it to this, but daddy's going and making the money and bringing it home. I mean, mommy's doing it too. But in my day, okay, because I'm older, in my day, Daddy sort of, you know, he went to work, he came home, he grunted at us, he went and had dinner. That was it. You know? And we didn't.
That's the interaction.
And we didn't see him most of the time till the next day. That was it. You know. So I think to answer your question, I think one of the things that we as men have to do is really find people who we trust and we have some commonality with, whether it's men or women. Okay. I tend to attract more women, and I'm thinking, really, where were you women when I was in high school? And didn't know, none of you want to date me. Okay. Now, most of the people who are really close to me happen to be women. Okay. I'm just not interested in any of them. But you know, you sort of have to find people that you connect with, that you like, that you trust, they trust you, and you can kind of say whatever, and they're not going to judge you. That's my 2 cents.
Okay.
I'm
okay. What are your 2 cents, Jim? How can you help the introvert, the nerd, the person who had this experience from their upbringing that they had to measure up to that strong machismo daddy, and now they can't?
My approach to certain things would be to find out where the root of the problem was, because you know, this perfect example is I'm an introvert wanting to convert to an extrovert, and I've been asking myself, like, where is the root of this problem? So when I look at my parents, I realize the exact same thing. Both of my parents are introvert. So if you want to change this, you have to find out where the root is, and then you just have to do the things that, like my approach is to do the things that scares you. And Marcia said, joining Toastmasters. I was like, whoa, that's not happening. But then when you think about where you want to be 5 years from now, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices to make it happen. So that's the advice I can give a man advice to. Not only that, but
to join a Toastmaster group.
Well, I think that you have to be. I think Jim said something really important. You have to be ready. You have to be ready to change. If you are an introvert, now a lot of people think that I'm an introvert, and actually I'm just really reserved. I don't go out to network a lot. I don't have any need to go out and network a lot. You know, when I'm out networking, you know, I listen more than I talk, because I talk for a living. You know, and so I want to hear what other people are saying and thinking and that sort of thing. But the bottom line is, you have to, as Jim said, you have to sort of be ready to make a change. If you're not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know, because you're always going to be in that shell anyway. So you got to be ready. You got to be open.
Okay. Well, I hope that whoever is listening and whoever listens to this show, all the introverts out there, you hear? You better be ready. Be ready to be an extrovert, because it's fun being an extrovert. You know, it's so, this is just an observation. A lot of introverted people tend to match or align themselves with an extrovert mate. Why is that? Opposites attract. They want to bring are they just a inner extrovert hiding in an outer introvert shell? Well, is that what it is?
Well, you know what? I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think that we, whether it's a relationship or a friendship, the people that we gravitate towards tend to be people that we consider on some level our betters, as well as our equals. In other words, someone who is going to make us better than who we are, because we see something in them that we don't have. So we want to gravitate. So it is an opposite attract thing, but it's also I see something in you that I'm lacking. And so I'm going to go over there and I want to know what you know. And I want to hang out with you and I want to absorb and examine and try and be like that. You know, I'll never get to that point, but I want to get as close to it as I possibly can. I think that's what it is.
So we're all each other's teachers, basically.
Well, we all are. I mean, we have more in common than not, usually. We just don't think that we do. But if we really look beneath the surface and ask the right questions, we have a lot of things that are really in common. You know, that goes back to the two questions that I said earlier. What do you need? How can I help?
What do you need and how can I help
You'd be amazed how many people will say, well, I need this, this, and this. And then you suddenly realize, well, a lot of people seem to need that. Okay? That's how I create most of the products and services that I offer, because I see that so many people need, you know, a directory for speakers, or they need workshops for this, or they need, you know, whatever product or service that I'm creating at that particular moment. You develop the need. But you also get to, from a psychological standpoint, you also get to see that we have something in common. You need that too. I need that. Let me connect you with somebody else who also needs that, and maybe we can all get together and we can help each other. That's what it's about.
Right.
Jim, do you want to jump in?
Jim, you want to add anything to that?
I think we all could attest to this. I think we all gravitate to someone that's confident, and if someone is confident, they also have this enthusiasm in their conversation or whatever they're doing. And I think that's why the introverts find the extroverts, because that's a person that's confident, and majority of the time I think people that's introvert wants to be an extrovert and they just don't know how to. So by getting into a relationship with somebody that's an extrovert, that you're thinking that, you know, this person can get you out of your shell and get you closer to where you want to be. So.
Exactly. And Marcy, go ahead.
No, I wasn't going to say.
Go ahead. Were you going to say, Jim?
No, go ahead. No.
And, you know, Marcia, you and I are a perfect example. I mean, you are always gregarious and doing it and out there and happy and always in a good mood. I've never seen you in a bad mood. And I am eternally pissed off about something, which I like. I like being sort of cranky. I'm turning into that cranky old man. And I kind of dig that, you know. But what I love about you is that you're vivacious and out there and saying hello, and I've seen you spoken at several of my speaking events, and you know, you're always this, you know, and I'm going to need some vodka to get to that level, you know, but I appreciate that, you know, and when we went out, you know, for cocktails when we were in Palm Springs, we found out that we've got more in common than not. You know, so it's great, you know. So there you have it.
Tony is just so much fun to hang around. He claims that he's so
when I'm drinking.
Sure isn't. He sure isn't. Oh my gosh, the time has come. Oh, I can't believe that 50 minutes has already gone.
I thought it was going to be a 30-minute
gone like
conversation, but I was like, nah, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't fly. While we're having it, I'm like, nah, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work.
I thank you, gentlemen, for participating and coming on the show as the guests tonight to our show topic, Man to Man.
Great.
I really, really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you.
Did you have a good time?
I had a wonderful time.
Oh, fabulous.
You know what, can I tell you? And I got to compliment you on this, because I do a lot of media interviews and I never get to ask these types of questions. And I always think, geez, you know, it's always tell me about the book, or what's next on the event, or, you know, give me some sales tips. I'm like, I don't care, you know. So I really love this interaction, and please keep this up because I think this is important information, important dialogue. Whether you agree or disagree, you know, Jim, you just love chatting with you, and do more of this. Do more of this.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. I'll put that as my testimonial.
Every time I join, I want to
Absolutely.
thank you also, Marcia, because every time I join one of your shows, I turn around and learn something about myself and where areas that I need to improve on. So I thank you for that.
Oh, well, thank you for coming. And did you have a really good time as well as
a little
Tony
bit longer. I wish we had a little longer.
Well, that's fabulous.
Well, I don't, because I got to start drinking.
You got to start drinking. Okay, so that Tony can go and have his drink.
It's been a long day.
Could you tell us a little bit about the Small Business Forum and your magazines and what you have going on?
Oh.
You have like 3 minutes.
Okay.
And what kind of special offer? Because I promised our guests, our viewers, that both our guests would have a special offer.
3 minutes. So. I can do a lot in 3 minutes. Never mind.
Okay, fabulous. You're on.
Okay, so I'm the host of Small Business Forum Radio, which comes on Fridays at 3:30 on Blog Talk Radio. And I think Marcia is going to put the website up, but we have over 250,000 listeners globally. It's a business show. We interview business experts from around the world. We've got advertisers and partners that we work with, and so it's a moneymaker. It's not a podcast, it's a moneymaker. And it's an internet radio show because we do the show live. I'm the publisher of 3 magazines. Podium Magazine, which is for speakers, SBFM, which is the magazine equivalent of the radio show, and Foodie Quarterly, which is a quarterly food magazine. I'm the author of 4 books. The latest book is called The Career Whisperer, and it's for anyone that's looking to get into the speaking community and make money at it. I also create and host workshops and events. I've got the Women of Influence Conference. It's coming up October 25th through the 27th here in San Francisco. I've got the Writers and Authors Conference that's going to be November 8th and 9th. I've got the Big Money Conference coming up next year, the Wells Fargo Conference coming up next year. I'm on a book tour, several different cities, and I've got booking service, directory for speakers, booking service speakers, bunch of other stuff. And it's my author. Sign up for either my booking service, which is $6.75 a month, or, and that's 3 or more months, or my directory for speakers, which is only $169, and I will give you a year of advertising in Podium Magazine. So either one of those two, the booking service or the directory, and you get a year of advertising in Podium Magazine. That's my offer.
So the booking service for speakers is $649 per month. You said
$675 per month.
$679.
No, $675. $675. And that has to be 3 months or more. They have to sign up for 3 months or more.
Okay. And the directory for speakers
is $169. Not per month, just $169. That's a total. And you get the magazine and you get the directory as
well. Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Tony Wilkins.
Thank you for having me.
And Jim, could you tell us a little bit about Freedom Artist Management Services, what you do, and what you have to offer to our
Now I
guests,
see why Tony.
our
Now I see why Tony needed drink
attendees,
after
listeners.
this show. He has a lot. He has a lot going on. He has a lot going on. I wish you. Wow.
Yep.
I wish you much
He
success
does.
with
That's
everything.
not even half of it.
So I'm the. Thank you so much.
Thank
Tony.
you.
I'm the founder of Freedom
you as
Artist Management. It's a management company that seeks to help artists that's having a hard time getting in the industry. If they don't want to take the route of a record label, they must have a great artist management company that's willing to help them and guide them through the distribution route where they need to do everything by themselves. The marketing, the promotion, the advertising, the social media, all those things. So that's exactly essentially what Freedom Artist Management is trying to do for artists like that. And especially I look for artists that has that timeless appeal, the ones that something totally different about them. And what I am offering coming up, he should be finishing up this project this month. Artist of mine's that he's actually touring in Russia right now, and he's finishing up his CD, and I'll be giving that away to the first person that emails me. At the artist is Chase Winter.
What's the name?
Chase Winter. And his project comes out in August. The first email that I receive at youngandconscious.com, youngandconscious@gmail.com, and I'll send you his CD.
youngandconscious@gmail.com. Okay.
Yeah.
So people still use CDs?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, tell me.
Okay.
Jim, while I have you, while I'm sitting here looking at you, what do you? I'm going to ask you those two questions. What do you need, and how can I help? What do you need help with? And it's okay if you can't answer those two questions, but I want you to think about it, and I want you to email me.
Appreciate it. I'm definitely am going to do it.
Okay.
Do it.
Definitely going to do it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, as I said, I am your host, Marcia Chambers, the host of the SpeakerMC show. And what I do is help women to find their confidence in the bedroom. Yes, that's what I do. Confidence from the boardroom to the bedroom. I'm having my forum. It's called the Sex C Forum. It's going to be September 15th, Thursday, in New York City, West 14th Street area, from 6 to 9. 3 hours of fun, engagement, and just information that will leave you invigorated, empowered, and a new woman. So join me. I'll be sending out the flyers. Yeah, Sexy Forum.
Woohoo!
Join us.
All right, honey.
There will be wine and cheese and grapes. Yeah, just like we do it in Rome, you know?
It sounds sexy to me. I mean, I could go to a different place, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna behave.
Okay, behave.
I'll behave.
All right. All right. Well, we've come to the end of our time. I can't believe it's 1 minute to 10. Can you imagine?
Yes.
We had so much fun.
Thirsty.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for joining us. And thank you, Jim. It has been a pleasure. Thank you, Tony. It has been a pleasure. I'm so glad that you were able to spend this hour talking about man to man on the SpeakerMC show tonight. So until next time, stay fabulous.
All right. Thank you, Marcia. Appreciate it. Jim, email me.